Welcome to the preliminary walkthrough of frequently made mistakes that I've seen during my initial review of Assignment 3 for CS 3251 in summer of 2022. First, please make sure to comment your code thoroughly. A lot of people are writing a lot of code, but they're not commenting it at all, which makes it next to impossible to figure out what the intent is when I'm trying to review your code and provide you with feedback. Let's now take a look at some problems I saw with various constructors. Make sure that you initialize the MArray field to a valid value. That could be null pointer in some circumstances. That could also be allocating it to a new array of type T. Here, it's not being initialized to anything, which is going to cause problems later on. Let's take a look down here. This is another constructor where, once again, MArray is not being initialized to any value. So that's going to cause problems. Also, please don't call the add method here, since it doesn't have the proper semantics. Instead, you just need to initialize the entire contents of MArray to the value parameter, rather than just initializing the last element in the array list. Let's now come down here and take a look at yet another problem. This isn't really a problem, it's just something that could be improved. Please try to use standard fill in that algorithm here. I'll talk a bit more about that in just a moment. Getting in that habit will be helpful for later assignments and also for just being a better programmer. Down here, this implementation is way too complicated. It's also not strongly exception safe because you're allocating a memory segment using new T with the size parameter, but then you're going ahead and assigning to the elements. So if an exception occurs, then you're going to be leaking memory, which is bad. Instead, just make sure you initialize MArray in the base member initialization section, and then try to use standard fill here to give it the default value that's passed as a parameter. This code down here also makes no sense. You don't want to be doing this in the constructor like that at all. Down here, this is an attempt at trying to use standard fill. Instead, what you want to do is you want to use MArray.get as the first parameter, because that's going to return the pointer to the underlying scoped array. And then you want to use MArray.get plus msize as the second parameter, assuming, of course, that you've set those values properly in the base member initialization section. Let's now turn our attention to some problems with the copy constructor. Again, you'll notice that the MArray is not being initialized, so we need to make sure that we initialize MArray properly. So I should probably put that in here to make sure to initialize MArray here. And then also you need to make sure that you go ahead and simplify this code. This code down here is way too complicated. Once again, there's a memory leak because it's not strongly exception safe, where you're allocating an array of new T's, but then you're assigning values that could cause an exception, which would then leak that memory. And also, you don't need to be doing this stuff if you are correct in how you handle the MArray initialization in the base member initialization section. Also, please take a shot at using standard copy here for this loop rather than to give it the copied value. So make sure you do that in order to give the correct value here as opposed to using a loop. Loop is not wrong. It's just better to try to get in the habit of using the standard algorithms whenever possible. Down here, yet another problem, not initializing MArray to any valid value. So you need to make sure you do that. Since you're not initializing MArray to any valid value, the call to MArray reset here will fail horribly because there'll be some uninitialized value that's being reset, which is incorrect. And again, please try to use standard copy here rather than using a for loop. Good idea to try to get rid of using for loops whenever possible in modern C++. Yet another problem, trying to use the standard copy algorithm. Here you want to use source MArray.get as the first parameter to standard copy, source array.get plus source.msize as the second parameter, and MArray.get as the third parameter. So that should fix these problems that you're getting, because of course it's not compiling because you're using the wrong types. Now let's take a look at the move constructor. And this can be improved in a number of different ways. Please make sure that you call source MArray release here and assign that value to the MArray. So you want to basically pass that in and let it take ownership of that. And don't call the source release method here. It's the wrong place to call it. And make sure that you set source M size and source M capacity to 0 so it won't be affected in some other strange and unexpected way. Let's now take a look at the assignment operator. There's a very particular idiomatic way I want you to be implementing the assignment operator. It's covered in all the videos on the assignment operator in the class. So make sure you go back and take a look at that. It's really quite simple to do it. But as long as this doesn't equal the address of the source parameter, then you simply want to create a temporary array list that will be initialized with source, and then you swap its contents with star this. This code here is just too complicated. I don't know what it's doing, and it's just not the way to do the appropriate assignment operator idiom that we've covered in class. Likewise, down here, this is the move operator as opposed to the move constructor. So it's kind of the move equivalent of the assignment operator. And this can be simplified by using the swap method that's defined on array list, as well as the source.clear method. And that'll clean up this code. I'm not sure if this code is right or wrong, but it's much cleaner to do this way. It's the idiomatic way to do it. Same sort of thing here. Please use swap source and source clear to simplify this code. It's just too complicated otherwise. Okay, and yet again, this code can be simplified as per description above. Also, please make sure that you check to see whether this doesn't equal address of src before you do any of this kind of stuff. And for goodness sakes, don't be calling copy. And if you do call copy, which you shouldn't be calling copy, make sure you pass the right parameters in here. Okay, let's come down here and take a look at another method. This is a helper method that someone added to simplify some other part of their logic. I'm not sure what's going on here since the code is not commented. However, it looks too complicated and it also doesn't appear to be strongly exception safe, but I'm really not sure what's going on. So, when you write code, you're really obliged to comment it thoroughly, and that will help me try to understand what you're trying to do. Here's an implementation of the add method. Add's one of the more tricky methods. It's a little subtle. This method, once again, is not commented, so I'm not really sure what it's trying to do. However, it also doesn't look like it's strongly exception safe, but since it's not commented, it's hard to say. So make sure you comment your code thoroughly. Here's another add method, and this code is very inefficient. I'm not really sure what it's doing. Again, it wasn't really commented, but it doesn't grow the array if necessary, which you need to make sure you do. And also, please make sure you use scoped array properly. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that you use scoped array when you do this kind of stuff if you have to grow the array so that you don't have to worry about exception safety problems. Similar kind of issue here. Please make sure you use a local scoped array to manage the new array, which will automatically be deallocated if an exception is thrown. So that's why you want to get in the habit of using scoped array. Learning how to use scoped array correctly is really one of the key themes in this whole assignment, and you have to make sure you know which methods to use it for and how to use it properly. If we come down here, we'll see that there's a implementation of clear that's incorrect. You want to use the reset method, not the release method. And also, when you clear an array list, please make sure to set the M capacity field to 0 as well as the M size field. And here, this method does that setting of M size and M capacity properly, but it forgets to call M array reset. For some reason, this method just checks to see if the index is in range and then doesn't return anything. So of course it's going to fail. So another thing to do is make sure you run the unit tests, but also make sure you return something from a method that has a return value, which is not being done here. This is the wrong check to use since MArray should be initialized in the base member initialization section of the constructors. And so you really want to check to see whether or not the size of that is 0. I'm sorry, you have to figure out what it means to be empty, but this is not the way to do it. So you need to check the M size value. Anyway, this is the wrong check. So make sure you use the right check. In the remove method, make sure that you use a local scoped array to manage the mutated array, since it will automatically be allocated if an exception is thrown, which you want to make sure your code is strongly exception safe. Similar problems down here. This code is not strongly exception safe. You can see just at a glance that it's storing something into a temp. It's I'm not really sure what it's doing. But if an exception is thrown, then corruption will occur and we'll have all kinds of problems. So make sure that you use scoped array properly, a la this comment above. Let me move this down here, kind of make that a bit more clear. So please use a local scoped array, blah, 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 blah. All right, similar problem down here. This code is inefficient and also not strongly exception safe, so make sure you fix that. I'm not really sure what this is trying to do at all, but all you need to do is check the range to make sure that the index is in range, and then just set the value to this, set the M array indexed value to value, and that'll be a much simpler way to do things. Here's another helper method that I'm not really sure what it's doing. There weren't a lot of comments, but don't allocate a single array element. Please get in the habit of never using naked pointers in your code. Always make sure you use a scoped array, and that way you can avoid memory leaks if an exception is thrown. And also, this code is partly right for the copy, but it's for some reason passing the address of new array as the third parameter, which is not at all what you want to do there. You need to pass in new array marray.get here. So that's the right thing to do in that case. So those are my preliminary comments for the solutions for assignment 3B that I reviewed. Sorry, for assignment 3 that I reviewed. And please make sure that you work on your code and improve those solutions. The actual submissions, the initial submissions at assignment 3 are due on August 1st. So please make sure you get your changes integrated, and then I will review them again, and then you get another chance to fix them. But I saw there were a lot of problems, so I wanted to give people some early feedback. So hopefully that's helpful. As always, if you have any questions, please post them on Piazza, and I'll be happy to answer them.